Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. And welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. It Takes Courage with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. And today I have very, very special guest with me, part two, round two, with the co-authors of the Creative Life Book. And these are thought leaders, artists, therapists, healers, all coming together to share their voices to help others and give people simple but practical tools to help you living your best life. So let me welcome the ladies up to the stage here. We have Linda, we have Cami, Jess, welcome Jess, Christy, Rodine, Lynn, Dr. Zari, and I have Kat Cat's whiskers artist, Tracy Abby there. First, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So welcome, 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 ladies, and it's so fantastic to see you. So everybody, just come off mute for a second and just let's say hello to everybody and give everybody the twinkle sparkle wave. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here. And first of all, congratulations. Number one international best-selling author with the Creative Life book that's available on Amazon and hitting the bestseller on multiple countries and impacting many, many people, not just on the day of the launch or few days after, but hopefully and intentionally leaving a legacy well beyond our lifetime. So imagine, like, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when we're no longer on this earth, your voices is going to be making an impact. So thank you so much, ladies, for your contribution and generosity and courage for sharing your voice. I don't know about you, but every time I write or wanting to have a book out, I'm like, oh my God, am I really going to put this? People going to know this. I don't know that people going to like it. Who am I to share about this? But it just takes courage to push through whatever's going in here and then put yourself out there. So well done, ladies. So let's give everybody a quick introduction. And first, I just want to honor the lady that anchored the whole process in. She had a vision, she had a download of the vision of the book. So, Jess, come and say hello to everybody.
Well, thank you so much for having all of us. It's such a joy to be able to come back again and share everything about the Creative Life book with your audience. I'm really thrilled to be here. So thank you. My name is Jess
Thank you.
Hughes. I'll just introduce myself. I am a visibility expert as well as an artist and a single mom of 7 kids. And I'm really passionate about helping women step into courage. You named it, Dr. Jamil, for sure. It takes courage to step in, to be seen and heard for who we are. And so to amplify the voices of creative entrepreneurs so we can be well known and highly paid. That's really where my passion lies.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jess. And definitely being seen, heard, and understood, and chosen as well to make the biggest impact that we can and live our purpose. So thank you so much, Jess. Okay, let's say hello very quickly to Linda.
Good morning. Thank you again for having us here today. My name is Linda Samuels, also known as LS. I'm an intuitive abstract figurative painter. And over the past 3 years, I've created a collection called Empowerment painted for women, about women. And although empowerment is very important to me, I couldn't do it without humor. And so for me, laughter and creativity go hand in hand together, because laughter brings joy, joy brings creativity, and laughter is the open portal to creativity.
Beautiful. And I do feel like, creativity, like, sometimes when you cry, like you can't have creativity or joy when it's like stuck, right? When it's crossed, when you cross your body, you just gotta let it flow and the expression of it to having that joy. And whether expression in movement or painting or even meditation or whatever that is, right? So thank you so much for that. Okay. Next, I'm going to say hello to Cami. Cami, come very quickly and say hello to everybody.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here. I'm so happy to be here. I am Cami Baker Miller. I am an intuitive abstract artist, a writer, and a coach. And I would not be here in any of those places living my best life had I not had a cancer diagnosis in 2018, which led me to learn how to be still and really get inside my body and listen to my intuition and follow it even when it doesn't make sense.
Wow, I know you wouldn't like think that, right? Like having that access to this kind of life, with that kind of situation and cancer is a big deal. My mother-in-law had cancer, and she had it the first time, and then it was the last time the effects of it that took her life. But it is that moment of you being able to tap into something, and whether you call it a tragedy or like a breakdown in life. So thank you so much, Cami, for your courage with that. As you can see, Tammy got the twinkling lights above her, and having that expression of her as well. So beautiful. Next, I'm gonna say hello to Rodine. Rodine, come and say hello to everybody.
Hello, it is such a pleasure to be here today. I'm
Thank you
Rodine.
so much. Yeah, so very quickly introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm Rodine Eastfeld. I'm a teacher and intuitive artist. I channel the beauty of the Northern Lights onto canvases. I'm also a 2 times best-selling author as well, and I am sharing my journey and my belief about how learning to love our fear creates a beautiful space for divine connection, creativity, and joy.
Beautiful. And this side of fear, right, that people always resist, that people, want to go away from. I think like you nailed it down, Rodin, in the sense that once we know how to embrace it and lean into it, it can be one of the greatest assets that we can have. So thank you so much, Rodin. And Christy, let's say hello to you.
Good morning, Dr. Jamil. Thank you for having us all here this morning. It's great to be here. I'm Christy Kale from Austin, Texas. I'm an artist and co-author of the Creative Lifebook. My art is all about finding beauty, light, love, and joy, and sharing my work to make a positive impact in the world. I'm here to spread the word that creativity and play are available to us all through simple daily practices.
Beautiful. And this play thing, I think that a couple of you ladies mentioned about the word play. And I have, a 2-year-old, and I just see him just play and play and play and play. And I think as we've, gone through a few years, a few months of our life, we forgot what it's like to play. We forgot what it's like to let go and enjoy and laugh and do silly things that doesn't even make sense. But the thing that gives us, joy and tapping into creativity, tapping into ideas. So thank you so much for that reminder, Christy. Next, I'm going to say hello to Lynn. Lynn, let's say hello to everybody.
Hi, Dr. Jamil and everybody. My name is Lynn Mazzolini. I'm an emerging artist. I'm a co-author of the Creative Lifebook. I am also a co-host of a podcast, and I'm also a chemistry professor at a university in Houghton, Michigan.
Awesome. Whoa, chemistry. My mom's a chemistry teacher, and us sisters, we didn't even pass our chemistry. I had to go on probation on chemistry because it just doesn't make sense to me. But thank you so much for that. And again, ladies, congratulations for being a best-selling author. I think even for me, it takes a while for me to kind of embrace it. I mean, I've been a best-selling author almost like 17 times. I have a book coming out next week, but it's just like, so ladies, you just gotta own it sometimes, right? Just gotta own it and say it, and just this is reality of things, and sometimes we tend to diminish the accomplishments that we have. So let's own it, okay? And then we have Dr. Zeri come and say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. I like to call myself affectionately Dr. Z, but formally my parents would appreciate Dr. Zeri Gross. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a trauma-informed yoga instructor, a retired veteran, and a whole life coach to all the awesome people that like to help other people. I enjoy being able to support people with finding the connection and alignment with their mind, body, and self, and how they spend their time to make their money so they can actually enjoy life on their terms.
Beautiful. And thank you so much for your service, Dr. Z. And I feel that your core of protecting and serve still carries through, right? No matter whether you're in the military, no matter in what field you are, because I think essentially that is something that the truth of who we are, to protect and serve other people in the best way possible. So thank you so much for that. Okay, let's say hello to Cat's Whisper Art Studio, Tracy. So Tracy, come and say hello to everybody.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much, Dr. Jamil, for having us, and Jess for this amazing opportunity. So, co-author of this creative life book with all these wonderful women, it has been an experience. So, I am a paint party art studio hostess, and I bring the fun and art accessible to everybody. So I've been away from fine art for a long time. I do have a background in it, and I'm slowly coming back to it thanks to Jess and her inspiration. I'm just so grateful for that. So I do bespoke art in that I take a person through a spiritual journey, and then we create a piece for them. But my passion lies in bringing art and making it accessible to everybody, and bringing my special kind of magic to the world, one brushstroke at a time, is what I like to say.
Beautiful. And Tracy, I hear that you have a little bit of an accent. Yeah. Is it like the British accent that I heard, or the Australian accent?
No. So we are an expat British country. So yes, there's that little British twang. I am actually from South Africa, born and raised, and I now live in the USA. So I've been here for 22 years, and I'm in Northern California currently. I've traveled all over the US. I haven't really found home yet, but I am in Manteca, California, in Northern California, near Sacramento, between Sacramento and San Francisco area.
Wonderful. Well, I lived in multiple countries as well, and one of them is England. So sometimes the British accent comes out.
I hear
especially
it
when having a cup of tea.
Yes,
Okay, wonderful,
I got my cup of
ladies.
tea in here.
Oh, you've got your cup of tea. Yeah, it's only like 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's a true British accent for it. Okay, ladies, we're gonna take you to the backstage for a moment while I give each and every one of you a spotlight. So we'll be back in a moment, and I'm gonna start off with Jess and have a little bit of chat and conversation with her. So, Jess, again, thank you so much for being back here and for trailblazing a path so that this woman can be seen, they can be heard, they can be understood, they can make an impact. But having this conversation with this lady is one thing that pops up is the connection of arts and spirituality and expression, and also how that trickles in to the other parts of life. I know you mentioned before that you paint so that you can be better in business, you paint so that you can be a better mother, you paint so that you can be a better community member. So a lot of the times it's very segregated: arts or science, arts, creative, or logic. So can you give us a little bit of your point of view in terms of actually when we kind of intertwine these two parts of us, that's where that we're missing out. That's where the magic happens.
Yeah, this is my favorite topic at the intersection point between spirituality and creativity, or personal growth and creativity and expression. Or in Lynn's case, she's a chemistry professor in the hard sciences and an artist. And so that is really what makes us unique. And art form, the art that I create is really, like I said, to help me express my emotions outside of my body. Creativity is something that is available to everybody. There's no right or wrong way to do that. And I use that as my tool to express the things that words, we have a limited language, and yet the nonverbal expressive modalities are where we can really express the full range and gamut of emotion. And when we can get that out of our physical body, whether it's through dance or writing or gardening or any way, any creativity, expressive modality at all, we can come back to real life, whether that's business or raising a family, and have a clear head and that clarity of having engaged the creative energy, and I can come back in a more grounded, clear-headed space to be, to really do the business, which is supporting these incredible artists and creatives, and helping them to really step in to find their voice as thought leaders, to teach the world how to rethink about art and creativity as something that's available to everybody.
100%. And I feel that, it is a form of expression. And some people go on physical movement, right? They would exercise. Me, like I would just, sometimes I just cook, and like I've come to the point now when I cook that I don't have to look at recipes. I can just open the fridge and, oh, that one, that one, that one, that one. And
Right.
then, make up something out of it. And if people ask me for my recipe, I'm like, I don't have one because I don't remember what I put. It's
Right.
just, the feeling and the expression of it. That is like part of our life, part of who we are, that shouldn't be suppressed.
Right.
Some people go through that, and some people, there's been times when I pretend I'm Lady Gaga and sing stuff off tune, like, just like, kind of that. So the intersection of it. And I feel that the purpose of the Creative Life book is especially that, to let people know there are different modalities that they can express themselves. So just if there's one thing that people can take away from the Creative Life book, what would that be?
That the Creative Life book is really a personal development book. Anybody that wants to expand and grow as a human being, in all facets of life, creativity, engaging that spirit of joy and play, and letting life feel easy. Just there's a practical tip from 65 different creativity experts, wellness experts, thought leaders who have contributed, a phenomenal array, that anybody could pick up the Creative Life book and flip it open and find something in there that they're going to resonate with and be able to go and experiment with and play with.
Beautiful. And one of the things that jumps into me with the Creative Life book, was this lady who wrote about the menstrual cycle, right? That creating a life based on the menstrual cycle, because in the beginning, when you are, certain part of your menstrual cycle is the creation part, the second part is the implementation part, the second, certain part is the execution or the resting part. So that is like so cool to understand, because I could never tell, like, why is it I'm not always like this? Why is it certain times is that? So perfect. Thank you so much. And the Creative Life book is available on Amazon. So thank you so much, Jess, for your insight. And we'll come back to you in a moment, okay?
Great. Thanks so much.
Okay, dokie. You're welcome. And let's bring up Linda to the stage. Hey, Linda. Thank you so much for being here. And I wanted you to highlight your inspiration behind your story, because your life isn't just about that particular story that you shared. It consists of multiple stories, and sometimes one builds or layers into one other. So what made you choose the story that you chose to share on the Creative Life? But what was the inspiration behind that? I think you're still on mute.
Yes, I am. Thank you. For me, it's what, like you mentioned earlier, that if you're constricted, worried, stressed, your creativity is jammed inside and it has no way to let out. So for me, I like to find something that makes me laugh. Sometimes I talk to a friend that I know will get me laughing. And I did some little bit of research on it, and I read that laughter actually triggers a switch inside your mind. And so when we laugh, the cortisol in our bloodstream is swapped out with chemicals from our brains like dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins. And dopamine alone can enhance learning and motivation. And I find that when I'm able to do that, then all these different emotions come out of me, and I create something that I really had no intention on creating because I didn't know I was going to feel that good. So.
Beautiful. And this laughter, like people underestimate laughter because it's infectious. And once you start to laugh, it's infectious to the people next to you. I remember like I was at a restaurant with a group of friends, and then there was, something happened, and then I thought it was funny. So I just laughed myself over. And then people just looked at me, and then they started to laugh with me. And they're like, it's not even funny, but because you're laughing so crazy, like they just laughed at me. Yeah, right. And it just channels into, whatever parts of your life. It just triggers, like you said, the hormone, the cortisol, the vibration that you have really can shift from your energy, because energy cannot be killed. It can only be transferred or transmuted into something else. And thank you so much for that sharing. And just to remember to laugh. If there's nothing else, Linda, you just watch like funny dog video or the cat video.
Well, you mentioned your 2-year-old, how they play all the time and they laugh all the time. And I have 3 grandchildren, and I have a 2-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and it's the same thing. Their giggles, like you don't know why they're laughing, but it's just very funny.
Yeah, that's right. And yesterday, my baby's name is Rehan. I've got 3 kids. So Rehan is the youngest. So he found the roly poly. He's like, "Mommy, oly poly, just laughed as well." And I'm like, "Get those things away from me," because I don't like creepy crawlers. And he was roly poly, and so he just laughed, throughout the entire afternoon. So thank you so much for that reminder, and especially so needed, whether it's the first thing in the morning or during the day or the last thing that before you go to sleep. So thank you so much for that reminder, Linda. So I'll bring you back in a moment, okay? Okay, so next I want to give a spotlight to Cami. I just, love this lady because 1, we're matchy. She got the memo. And 2, she has all the twinkly, sparkly lights and the expression of painting that you have in the background. I feel like you have a pop. You come in and then you pop things up. So let's talk about the pop, because you had a rough time a few years ago going through certain medical conditions. Now you kind of like tapping into that and assessing that as the source or as a blessing for you to create this. I don't know. I feel like the word is pop that comes up. So let's talk through that a little bit and give people some ideas or some hope, and how they can move forward when life doesn't go your way.
Well, the way you said that is perfect. I love pop. And it is kind of a timeline. The timeline from my diagnosis to now is also kind of a user's manual, if you will. Before cancer, I was very driven and very go. I never stopped. And with the diagnosis and subsequent treatment, especially the chemo, I had to learn to rest and be still. And that ultimately, the being still and starting to listen to my body and my intuition is what gave me the ability to act on that and start living out loud, the pop. So it's kind of a 4-step process. If you think about it, it's, getting still, resting, getting quiet, listening, and then living out loud.
Yeah, I found that getting still is one of the hardest things. Like for me to meditate and just still and sit and
Mhm.
breathe for like 2 minutes is the hardest thing, especially when we have like walk, popping here and everywhere. But I feel that you touch something really important there because we're always on the go, 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 go.
Right.
I mean, like even for myself, like I wake up in the first thing and I'm always go, 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 go all the time. Even when there's nothing, Cami, I'll be like, what's there left to do? Like, what do I need to do next? And it's important to just breathe, exactly like you say, take the time and the silence to just ground yourself in that and enjoy a moment of that. Even now, I've started to, beginning of the year, I said to myself, I'm going to take Mondays off. And I haven't always honored that, but slowly, taking that time to have that. So tell us one thing that you have learned, or one tip, or one practical thing that you have learned in terms of how can you be silent when there's chaos around you?
Your breath. Your breath. I'll go ahead and tell you, like I said, this has never been easy for me. I actually had the reminder tattooed on my wrist to be still. But if you can just, and it doesn't even have to be, it's just deliberate breathing. Just in and out and making sure that you're inhaling it deep into your belly instead of just shallowly in your chest. And if you can concentrate on that for even just 5 short breaths, you're gonna shift your perspective at least a little bit and tap
Beautiful.
calm.
So just be mindful of your breath, like stay with it, right? Just take
Mhm.
in a few short breaths or deep breath, or whatever that breath is. And sometimes we force the breath, Cami. We just force it. I want it to be this way, but actually, no, the breath wants it to go this way. Just be with it. Take a few short breaths, or long breath, or deep breath, and just be with it because breath is
Right.
life. Without the breath, we won't be living. So thank
Right.
you so much for that reminder. And you can see Baby Munchkin just pops up to say hello to everybody. So here he is. So thank you so much, Camille. We'll have you back in a moment, okay? Okay, we're gonna say hello to Lynn. Hi, Lynn, the chemistry professor, and it's just so interesting because chemistry is very scientific. If you mix the incorrect molecule together, it can cause certain things, unexpected things. But also you have this art side of you. But I feel that art and chemistry that I've just starting to realize that it somehow has a co-creation or correlation with one another because it's a creation of one medium to the other, the color, the combination of it. So talk us through about the inspiration of your story, but also how scientists, professional, more logical people can use art or certain type of expressive tool to further enhance what they do.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I think the biggest inspiration that I had for my contribution was that I went through a pretty significant burnout. It more or less started in 2017. And then in 2018, I got myself into a coaching program, which was how to be more productive. And that didn't help. And then I got myself into another coaching program in 2019. And that was more about figuring out what your big rocks are. And I realized that my only big rock was really my career. And I just realized I needed more. I needed more variety in my life. And so I just started feeling drawn to creativity and art materials. And of course, I was horrible at it in the beginning. I was just making a mess. And I just decided that was okay. And that was exactly what I needed, was just a release of all the rules and all of the, preconceived expectations and all the pressure. What has transpired over the last 3 years is that instead of really wanting an escape from my job, I've actually found kind of this happy medium where they actually play off of each other now. So I'm still an artist, and I'm showing in galleries, mostly local galleries, and I have a website and everything. But I'm also about ready to head on a sabbatical leave to study the chemistry of pigments. And I'm super excited about that.
That is so cool. And you know what's cool as well? You're having a burnout and you go for a course how to be more productive. Like that's kind of like so cool with that. And then now you're kind of like having the happy medium of like, using that and the expression of who you are. Like in the beginning, it was hard because you like make a mess of things, it doesn't go right, it doesn't look right. But I feel that's where the joy or the life comes in. Out of all the mess, you get to create something. And I feel that even for me, the conception of, oh, I just got to be born with it is incorrect, because you just got to practice and practice and practice in creating that medium. So thank you so much, Lynn, for that inspiration. And I wish you all the best on your sabbatical, that you get to study about pigments and the experimentation of I know for some people pigments, but for scientists, we're like, pigments, and I'm a computer scientist myself. Those little things is what excites us. So thank you so much, and we'll come back to you in a moment, okay? All right, let's say a quick hello to Rodin here. So Rodin, talk us through about the biggest lesson that you have learned while putting your story out there and also using art as a creative form. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned that you were not expecting?
Well, I have been recovering from severe anxiety and depression. And so the biggest, there were two really big lessons. One was that learning to love my fear, to literally imagine hugging him and holding him and talking to him, helped my healing so tremendously. But that also allowed me to tap into my creativity and using art as that way to just allow the flow of the universe through me. And so when I've been sharing in my books and in the Creativity Lifebook, I'm introducing people to the idea that it's okay for us to love our fear and to hug it and to hold it close so that it feels valued, because it's just trying to protect us. So that's been my biggest lesson.
That's so interesting. Like, it's trying to protect us, but I feel it's also trying to guide us into a place that, it's so uncomfortable, it's scary at times, but sometimes that's the place that we need to be. I mean, whether it's in business or with a relationship with person or sports, whatever, whatever that is, like, it's something, it's the place where we need to be. And as trailblazers or as thought leaders, we don't go with the flow, like, what culture and society tells us. Usually we go on the opposite side that nobody wants to go to, and it can be lonely. But that's why I feel like the fear is gonna kind of like either stop us if we let it, or embrace it, like you say, like leaning into it, like hugging it. Let's take you with me. Let's go together in this journey. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rodin, for that inspiration. And thank you also for sharing about your burnout and the state that you were in, because that is so important to kind of like create an awareness around it, but also creating an awareness that, there's a way for you to take that and use it to your advantage or to the next chapter in your life. So thank you so much, Rodin, for that.
Thank you.
Next, I'm gonna be bringing in Christy. Hey, Christy. Thank you for joining us. So, well, Christy and the ladies, you're just gonna have to bear with me while I have one hand managing all the controls, and then have Rehan with me. Of course, he wants to join the creatives, right? When you're talking about play, of course, like he wants to be with everybody. So, Christy, what has the process been like for you to be putting yourself out there, to be sharing your story? And what are the surprising things or the impact that has come out from you becoming a best-selling author, from the people around you, or for, the people that have been following you?
Well, the book is getting so much attention and great reviews on Amazon, and it's only been out a week, the Kindle edition, so it's kind of early on in the process, but it is another chapter in my artist story, and I can't wait to see where it leads. Not only me, but all the other 64 authors in the book. And my chapter in the book is about my daily art journal practice. So I'd like to tell you about that pretty quickly. I have been a painter for most of my adult life, and it's one of the most joyful things I do. However, over my lifetime, I have suffered from periods of artist block where it's really hard for me to get started on my creativity. And I have developed an art journal practice that keeps me connected to my creativity on a daily basis, so I no longer have those artist blocks. Very quickly, this is my one of my journals. It's an 8.5 by 5.5 watercolor journal. And every morning after I fix my cup of tea, I will go to the journal and I'll put down just a color on one side of the journal, and on the other, I'll put the date. And that's what I do first thing in the morning. It takes me 2 minutes to put the color down, wash my brush, and then I go on with my morning. But I leave this book out where I can see it, where I walk by it frequently during the day. So I'll come back during the day and add to what I started. I will either add more paint or maybe markers, maybe pencils. I might scribble. This can really be as easy as scribbling with crayons here. And the goal is to remain playful and curious, to drop into your creativity and to experiment. And so on the written side here, I will write down either what I'm doing, projects I'm thinking of. I'll write down, a friend called me, and, something I want to remember. Painting titles, ideas that I get for painting titles, songs that I want to remember. And I've discovered that a really easy way to keep track of that information is with an index that I make either in the front or the back of the book. So for instance, for painting titles, I've got painting titles on page 15 and 37. So I can come back to this book in 2 years and quickly and easily find that information. But these are some more of the pages. That's paint with pencil. These are drip markers. They're really big, fat, juicy markers that are fun to play with. More markers. This is one of my paintings on a business card that I put there. And
it looks so fun, though, that what you created, Christy. It looks so fun. And I like what you said about, you just start with a color. You just start with one color. It can't get any simpler than that. One color, and then remain curious and playful as you go along, and you can layer things as you go along, layering it and adding it. Speaking about layers, I had a makeup done by one of the top celebrity makeup artists, and she says exactly the same thing, Christy. Like, the key to beautiful makeup, red carpet event, is layering. You start with something, you start with a basic thing, and then you layer things on top. And she didn't use a lot of products on me, but it's the layering. As you layer and layer, you build things up, you build the depth, you build the intensity, you build the connection between those elements as well. So thank you so much, Christy, for your sharing, and just for the playfulness and the curiosity, and for having fun, and for making it simple. Start with a color. So Christy, will come back to you in a moment, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's bring on Dr. Z here. So Dr. Z, let's talk about your inspiration for your chapter, especially, going through a very regimented lifestyle in the military, because everything has to be precision, right? Certain things has to be precision, has to be regimented, has to have protocols, the certain way of doing things, and that's the way of doing things too. On the other side of the tangent of the full freedom of self-expression in whatever capacity that you want to have. So give us some ideas around that and inspiration behind that, and more importantly, what you found by tapping into your creative side that you would not have thought to have found before.
Okay. Well, kind of tying in those different aspects of life, and I'm sure you guys can see the picture behind me. I've got two lovely, beautiful women that I am growing to be amazing goddesses. And being able to have that transition of having multiple jobs all the time and constantly exchanging my time for money, it led me to really having to dig a little deeper into how and why that was so. So my excerpt in the book is actually talking about money and money not being evil. And as a therapist, there's a certain aspect or component when you go into doing this work of wanting to help people. In that same capacity, if you find yourself stuck in a space of believing that the only way to help people is to also not receive compensation for it, it can place you into a position where you are constantly overwhelmed, overworked. That consistency and stability that was in the military. As soon as I got out, I was like, I'll never be on time for the rest of my life. And I'll never do anything that has to be in alignment with what anyone else says, except there was this point where I had to circle back around to, well, what is it that I'm telling myself? What is it that I believe or think about time limits or showing up on time or being able to make money or exchanging hours for dollars? And I realized it came back to a mindset. When I started tapping into what I beliefs, and the word belief has the word lie in it, so let's put that out there. But when I looked at the things that I believed about money, all of it was contradicting what it was I was actually trying to accomplish. So trying to help more people, but also not receive money, which meant I can't take care of me. I can't take care of those two beautiful young ladies, even though it's a cartoon character, but they're real in real life. And I realized other people need to have the opportunity to experience this freedom too. They need the opportunity to believe I too can have money and offer my gifts to people. So I help therapists, small business owners, healers, people start to break that mindset so they have the opportunity to spend their time doing what they love. And it also allows them to not only help themselves, but help other people.
Beautiful, beautifully said as well, and this thing about the beliefs, right? Sometimes the belief we have like a shape of it, but I've just realized actually we can erase that shape, right? We can erase those
Totally.
shapes and we can create a new shape, and whatever that we want is just having the awareness to do that, and also the courage to do that, because then you're tapping into unknown territory. Like, look, Dr. Z, I've been at the point, like, I used to sell hijab before at fairs, and I'm like, people are like, okay, how much is this? It's okay, just take it, just take it, just take the hijab.
And you'd go home like, okay, so I've made this many dollars, but this much time.
Well, exactly. Like, or sometimes I would bake cakes, so I would sell them, and I'm like, yeah, just take the whole cake. And then I'm like, where, like, I go home lighter in the sense that I don't have much product, but there's something in me, I can feel it, this restlessness of something that a part of me that hasn't been honoring myself. That for who I am of serving others. I let people walk away with beautiful hijab, with delicious cake, but I couldn't take care of myself. So thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Z, and then we'll come back to you in a moment. Okay. All right, Tracy, darling. Okay, so let's talk about your journey and inspiration for your chapter.
Yes.
And the biggest kind of like inspiration or like a part that you learned to move forward from putting yourself out there as an author and for your story. So what's the thing that you learned that's going to help you to move forward from this whole process?
Courage, just being able to do something in fear. And I'm one of that 1% of people who's always wanted to write a book. I've been told since I was a little girl that I have a way with words and I should be writing, and I've always wanted to, and this opportunity came about. and just having the courage to say, hell yes, I'm going to do this. I have no idea how, but we have our fearless leader, Jess, who, chief unicorn and my personal Tigger, as I call her. That's my nickname for her. Just her vibrancy and just it's contagious, and that's for me also what art is like. I cured my panic attacks, and just severe debilitating panic attacks happened during the lockdowns, because I was a travel agent at the time and I had to watch all the numbers, and it just really affected me badly. And so I ended up going back to my art during that time, and it really helped heal me. And so through doing that, I was going live on my YouTube channel and my Woo Woo Witchy Arts channel under Ask Tracy Abbey. And people started responding to that and saying, can you teach us classes? Can you do more? And so that was born the Cat's Whiskers Mobile Art Studio. And so it was online at first, mainly because of the lockdowns, and then now I go out into restaurants and personal homes, and I bring the art to the people that way, and then it's pulled me back into the world of actually really creating the art that makes me feel passionate about the world. And so I share that in my magical painting circle with a bunch of like-minded woo-woo fellow creatives, and I share a little bit more of the technique in that it's an online community, and we create in there. And so my chapter is chapter 21, and it's all about aligning ourselves to the moon, because in my personal experience, I find we really cycle, and sometimes I feel like my energy is really low, and then other times I feel my energy is really high. And I do have ADHD, so I was like, well, maybe it's that. And the more I was like experimenting with my art and trying to learn more about myself and what was going on, I really found lots of inspiration in hearing how being in nature and attuning to nature can really help us. And so that's when I discovered this passion for looking at the moon. And always loved astrology, but that really pulled in. And so my art takes a person on that journey, my fine art, and so my chapter really talks about how just everyday people can attune to the moon and can use that in a vision board and create a piece of art that is magical for their own wall, that inspires them, that transcends that energy, that connects them to nature, and just helps them to heal and experience the magic. One paintbrush stroke at a time that's my motto in everything. So it just
Yeah.
a
So
wonderful
one
experience.
paintbrush at a time. And then what I've learned from the story, Tracy, is that courage would always be rewarded. Courage
Absolutely.
would always be rewarded. Like
Yeah.
putting yourself out there, to inspire people. Like you don't even know what's gonna happen. You just like, let me
No.
just put myself out there with this video, with something simple, and then people got interested, people got curious, and then like, hey, can you help us with this? Can you help us with that? um it is such an incredible thing, like embracing the fear and putting yourself forward, that you don't know the rippling effect that you can have when you start to put yourself out there. So never underestimate that. And sometimes when we do something, nothing happens, right? We feel like nothing happens, but we don't know the things that goes in the background, the silence that it creates, or the effect that it creates. So thank you so much, Tracy, for that sharing. And also, more important, like you had this dream since you were a little girl to be a writer, or to write a book. And that little girl's dream is now being made a reality. I mean, you're still 20 years old, right? So it's only took you like 5 years, 10 years to have that dream, right, Tracy?
Love you, Dr. Jamil. Add a couple of tens on that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody talks about that part, right? We just say, it's just yesterday that we did that. So thank you so much, Tracy, for that. Let's bring everybody up and wrap up the show for here, because let's bring everybody up. Okay, ladies, did I miss someone? Okay, okay. I think we have one. I think we have everybody here. Okay, let's wrap up with this. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing for your stories, the laughter, the joy, the love, the connection. It's been absolutely beautiful. So let's wrap up with this. The thing, one word. The thing that brings me most joy is, what's your one word? We'll start with Stacy.
Creativity, authenticity,
Creativity.
creativity. Yeah.
Creativity. Okay, fantastic. In your mind, you can say multiple different things, but
Creativity.
creativity, fabulous. Dr. Z, the biggest thing that brings you joy is,
Yep.
Dancing.
ooh, dancing. Wonderful. Okay, Rodine, the biggest thing that brings you joy is
Painting.
painting and the expression and the things that comes with it. Beautiful. Christy, the thing that brings you the biggest joy is
The magic I feel, the magic I feel when I'm painting.
painting. Beautiful. The magic of it, right? The expression of it, everything that the particles, excitement that comes with it, and the vision that you have in it. So beautiful. Cami, the biggest thing that brings me joy is
Play, no matter what it is. If
play,
you
play,
come at it
play.
with curiosity.
Wonderful play. And Linda, the biggest thing that brings you joy is
Oh, laughter all day long.
that's right, laughter. And just let's complete it with you. The biggest thing that brings you joy is
Taking risks to do big things.
taking risks to do big things, even when it's scary. And just remember, like, it is scary. It's going to be scary. It's going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable. But courage would always be rewarded. And history has shown us how much courage, when you the courage is making the biggest impact, and people are attracted to people that are courageous, that are brave, that are committed. They can't take their eyes off these people. They really can't. So thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for being so gracious of having Rehan with me as well. As you can tell, the moment you say the word play, he goes off and play with his little toy over there. So thank you so much for being here today. And with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. Remember, be brave, be courageous in sharing your voice, that you can make the biggest impact and be seen, heard, and chosen as the go-to leader in your field. All right, ladies, let's say bye to everybody. Bye.
Bye.